So we would like to invite next presenter, narrative of Pashtunistão and Ghaffar Khan in the Kabul Times, Pakistan Observer and the Guardian. And the presenter's name is Yuri Maciel from Federal University of Juiz, Fora in Brazil.
Okay, it's such a pleasure to be here. I'll share my screen. Just a moment, please. Oh, can you all see the screen? Would you please say it, because I have no visual contact with you.
Yes, we see your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'll introduce myself. I'm Yuri Tesch from Juiz Fora Federal University, Brazil. I'm a PhD candidate, history PhD candidate. And as I said before, it's an honor to be here presenting my work. The title of my presentation is Narrative of Pashtunistão and Ghaffar Khan in Kabul Times, Pakistan Observer and the Guardian. And such a complex and specific research demands some additional information, of course, that I will approach now, as you can see at the table of contents on your screen. Okay, here we go. First of all, I would like to tell a personal history, because I was awarded this year a scholarship by the Brazilian government to study at Pakistan at the University of Peshawar. But unfortunately, my visa was refused, probably most likely because as a consequence of the war between Pakistan and Afghanistan that's happened now. And if we turn on the television and see the reasons why the reporters says about this conflict, you probably will hear that it's a mutual accusation of cross-border attacks, and they are not lying. It's true, but it's too hard to see in the media. They take it deeply and understand this event not only like a war of today, but part of history claiming, part of a rooted history event that involves the colonial wound, especially the British presence in the region, and the Pashtun ethnic resentment. I'm talking about this later. And to understand these wounds, these hurts that colonial British made in this region, we will have to talk a little bit about the Great Game. The Great Game was a dispute between Russia and the United Kingdom about the Central Asian influence. And what comes to Afghanistan, it resulted in 3 wars between British and Afghanistan. It was relatively consensual in Europe that the next great war, the inevitable war, would be by the final confrontation between England and Russia, some scholars said. And it happened in the 19th century. Okay, but what wound is that I'm talking about? I'm talking about the Duran Line. The Duran Line, it was an artificial line that was made by the British on the region, and then divided the largest ethnic group in the world, that is the Pashtuns, according to some scholars. And this is a problem, a serious problem, when we we're talking about colonialism and how they create borders that does not exist and does not consider the ethnic reality of the people. And this current conflict may be understood as an old dispute between the Pakistan and the Afghan states. And as you can see on the image, some attacks, airstrikes at Kabul that I put on the screen. And let's understand a little bit more about this conflict. This conflict, it was by the newspaper Dawn. They alleged the newspaper Dawn is a newspaper from the point of view of the Pakistan. And it said on 26 February this year that the reasons of the war, this, I'll come back a little bit, the reasons of the war. They said, the federal and provincial governments on Wednesday agreed upon a joint strategy to restore peace and stability amid a surge in terrorist attacks across the country. The development comes against the backdrop of increasing attacks, particularly in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and the Baluchistan, by militant organizations, and one of these militant organizations that the newspaper is is talking about is the, and now, here we go, is the Taliban Pakistan, the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan. And on the other side, the Kabul Times, showing the Afghan side of history, it says, the times of the attacks has provoked particular outrage across the Islamic world. Ramadan is traditionally regarded as a month of mercy, forgiveness, and sanctity of life. To witness the most powerful military in the Muslim world, a nuclear armed state, using sophisticated weapons to kill fellow Muslims during the sacred period has been perceived as a profound betrayal of Islamic values. In Islamic jurisprudence, the blood of a Muslim is considered more sacred than the Kaaba itself. And the title of this news is Pakistan regime kills Afghan civilians and children to conceal its political cries. And what, according to Kabul Times, of course, the Pakistan is trying to mask with these attacks. And then this newspaper makes a relation of the Gaza conflicts that is happening as well in the Middle East. And it says, the report highlights a growing perception that the Pakistan military is acting as a colonial tool of Western powers, particularly the United States. Observers suggest that these strikes forms part of an effort by the Pakistan leadership to secure favor in Washington, especially in anticipation of the possible returns of a Trump-style administration. And it says that according to Kabul Times newspapers, that the Pakistan, they send troops to Gaza to be on the side of the Jewish state. And why does the Taliban support the Taliban Pakistan if it actually supports? Well, first of all, I would like to introduce what I'm studying in my PhD, that is the Pashtunistão. Pashtunistão is a territory located in south and eastern Afghanistan and northwestern Pakistan. And there is a struggle for a free and independence Pashtunistão in an ethno-nationalist separatist cause that claims Pashtun nation due to the territorial losings result from the conflict known as the Great Game. So as we talked before, the British presence at this region divide the Pashtun tribes. They don't use the terms tribes, it's a word used by themselves, but tribes or clan, they divide these ethnic people. And there is a historic struggle to restore this place that was took away from the British, because in Pakistan, when there was the partition and Pakistan was born as a modern state, it followed this Durand line. So they continue using this Durand line. Okay. And the Afghan Taliban. The Afghan Taliban in Pashtunistán. The Taliban avoid to speak about Pashtunistán, a country of the Pashtuns, of course, because it would provoke a war. It would cause probably a war between the two countries, but it does not formally recognize the Durand line. And according to Islamabad, it shelters the Taliban from Pakistan, members with members within Afghan territory. For this reason, the Pakistan frequently accused the Taliban of encouraging Pashtun separatism, and strengthen a form of transnational Islamic Pashtunism. And just a moment, please. The Pakistan Taliban, it was created in 2007 and brought together different armed groups operating along the Pakistan-Afghanistan borders. And it's not the same as the, I would call, classic historic fight or struggle for the Pashtunistan. It's not the same. They don't have the same root, but they have some similarities. For instance, the Pakistan Taliban, although it's not a direct heir of secular Pashtun nationalism, it observes an anti-Durand line sentiment and a Pashtun resentment, a Pashtun tribal solidarity. And that's what they have in common with the cause of Pashtunistan, and that's why it's so important to know a little bit about it when we want to understand this conflict. Now I'm going to talk about the resistance to the British Raj, Gandhi, Ghaffar Khan, and Jinnah. This is the classic fight struggle to the Pashtunistan, particularly when we approach Ghaffar Khan. But they had different, they three fought against the British Raj, the presence of the British in the India Raj, but they had different projects, projects. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it and focus, because of our time, in Ghaffar Khan. Ghaffar Khan was born in 1890 and in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, now in Pakistan, the same place that I would visit and study if my visa was not wasn't refused. And he was a very influential, come from the chief from the region. He was he had money. Her family was very rich, and he used the same strategy from Gandhi of using no violence on his approach to struggle against British Raj. And he had a movement named as Servants of God or Servants of Allah, Allah as the name of God in Islamic, in the Arabic language. And anyway, for a long time, traditional historiographic insisted on the argument that Ghaffar Khan projects of nonviolence depended upon gun practice. But now we know it's not like that. Recent research has proven, and mine is one of them, that it came before. The Ghaffar Khan used this method of nonviolence before Gandhi, and it's one difference between them. Although they meet each other, they were friends, and all the stuff. But and another difference, named by Said Wikar Ali Shah, the professor of the professor of the professor that would receive me on the Peshawar University, the master of him. And he said that Ghaffar Khan is particularly different because he created a platform from nothing, different than Gandhi, that already existed, the Indian National Congress. So this is very particularly, this is very interesting. When we end, another element is that he came from a rural background. It was not an urban background. So it make this his political experience even more singular. And his brother of Ghaffar Khan won the elections of this region. But what's the difference of their political projects? Okay, they, as I said before, they fought against the British Raj, but what next? How the state would configure itself after the partition? Sorry, um, because anti-colonialism in the Indian subcontinent was not a homogeneous movement. On the contrary, it was marked by multiple political language, distinct conceptions, and different understanding concerning the role of ethnicity and religion in a national beauty. And these projects had tension with one another. They tension one another. Ghaffar Khan was focused on an ethno-particularism, so it was a state based on ethnic. He wants a state for the Pashtuns based on ethnic. Basically, is that in Gandhi was focused different than Ghaffar Khan. Gandhi civic Indian nationalism based on non-violence. This is a common he has with Ghaffar Khan, but they have diverse. The Gandhi project rejected ethnic political segmentation and assumed that morality could overcome internal division. Gandhi wanted an India not divided. And Jinnah, just a moment. Jinnah was the father of Pakistan, and it was the father of the Pakistan. And when there was the partition, when there was the partition and the Pakistan was established, there was no space for ethnic or religion models of states that was not the Islamic nationalism, civic, and centralization stated. Could someone tell me How much time do I still have? Please? The timer where I have? Let me see. Okay, 1 minute. And to finish the presentation, the Kabul Times and Pakistan Observer and also the Guardian, they were newspapers that represented this political projects respectively of Ghaffar Khan, Jinnah, and Gandhi. And while the Kabul Times supported the cause of Pashtunistão, the Pakistan observers saw as criminal. They were criminal. There was divided the country, the Pakistan, and the Guardian has this. The Guardian reproduced a colonial imaginary concerning the Pashtun throughout expressions such as imaginary frontier states, and they saw them as stereotypic ways. Thank you very much. This is my contact, and sorry about my English.
Thank you very much for your presentation.